We all have a set of guiding principles, the preconceptions and generalizations regarding fundamental issues of one's life and of the entire world. No matter where we go, no matter what we do, we tend never to abandon our beliefs. These are things Prospector believes on Rock 107.
I believe WBRE meteorologist Thomas Battle looks like a Satanist from a bad 1970s TV movie. I believe people who comment or say "who" under posts or stories about famous people you haven't heard of are stupid. Being ignorant of something isn't the flex you think it is. Keeping peanut butter in the fridge should be an imprisonable offense. You people don't deserve the wonderful goodness of peanut butter.
Well, now we know the reason he turned out the way he did. That was Things Prospector Believes on Rock 107. We've all done it, and we've all regretted it. The drunken texts you forgot you sent. Prospectors collected them in Texticated on Rock 107.
From area code 224 in Elgin, Illinois, I was just re-elected president of Just Got Some Sylvania. Area code 416, Toronto, Canada. He adopted an old drug-sniffing dog so that he won't lose his weed around the house anymore. P.S. It works.
You hit send, and we hit the floor laughing in Texticated on Rock 107.
From the 906, Marquette, Michigan. We were escorted through the guys' dorm by 5 kids with Nerf guns and Zelda shields. I felt like the president with a low-rent Secret Service squad. Area code 315, Syracuse, New York. So I just bought beer on a credit card, using a fake ID while wearing my name tag from work. All 3 have different names on them. God, I love my boobs.
Proof that booze and cell phones don't mix in Texticated on Rock 107.
From the 401, Providence, Rhode Island. What was even the context for that? All I have written down is, I would vote for President Snakejaw. And from area code 313, Detroit, Michigan. Just saw a white Bronco on my way home from work, and the license plate read, "Not OJ."
Hey, we found him in your telephone. In Texticated on Rock 107. Breaking the news that's already broken. It's time for Prospector's Briefs on Rock 107.
Capital One is buying Discover. The consolidation means Charlie Sheen will have one less credit card to cut cocaine with. Alex Van Halen will release his memoir later this year. It's called I Was in the Band Too, You Know. California woman was caught stealing thousands of dollars in gum. She tried to hide from police by sticking herself underneath a chair.
Making sure breaking news stays broken. Tune in tomorrow for Prospector's Briefs on Rock 107.
For sacrifice and reflection, a time to suffer for my sins, a time to think and get ready for the Easter season. What should I give up for Lent? I mean, I said I'll give up chocolate, and that's a start. But what else? Oh, how about drinking? I could give up drinking for 40 days. Or watching The Gilded Age. But I don't know if I could wait until Easter to know what happens. I wish I could get him to give up sports. I should get some kind of Lent credit for sitting through basketball games. Talk about a snooze fest. I'll give up letting him watch sports for Lent. That's perfect.
And that was another episode of 1 Minute Inside a Woman's Head.
And now it's time for another episode of A Few Seconds Inside a Man's Head.
Give up something for Lent. I'm not even Catholic. Now I gotta sacrifice something. Wait, I know. I'll tell her to give up baseball. She doesn't know the regular season's barely gonna be started by the time this ends.
And that was another episode of A Few Seconds Inside a Man's Head.
Sometimes you got to pick your battles. Hey, good morning. I'm Rock 107's Prospector. I'm just thankful this has never happened to me. A grocery shopper flashed a gun after he was confronted for having more than 10 items or less in the express lane. Now you can catch the whole story with today's Yam Bag of the Day nominees at rock107.com. And of course, right here on the radio when I do the Yam Bag stuff. But when it comes to the list of morons we encounter at the market, I'm just getting started. See what I mean with today's list of top 5 most annoying people at the grocery store besides the person with too much stuff in the 10 items or less lane. Here we go. Number 5, the employee who takes forever to show up to unlock the deodorant cage. Top 5 most annoying people at the grocery store besides the person with too much stuff in the 10 items or less lane. Number 4, the customer who makes the rest of the line wait to go get something they forgot to get. Number 3, the customer who ignores the take a number machine and just barks her deli order. The top 5 most annoying people at the grocery store besides the person with too much stuff in the cart at the 10 item or less lane. Number 2, the bagger who puts the chips at the bottom. Yeah, that's what I wanted. Crumbs. And the number 1 most annoying person at the grocery store besides the person with too much stuff in the cart at the 10 items or less aisle is the idiots who haven't seen each other a while and block the aisle with their carts while they catch up. There you have it.
Life's pretty tough right now. There's plenty of bad news, but it's not all bad. It's time for the brighter side of Prospector on Rock 107.
A kid from Singapore just became the youngest person to beat a chess grandmaster. He's only 8.5 years old. The previous record was just set last month when another 8-year-old became the first person under 9 to do it.
Thanks. We needed that. The brighter side of Prospector on Rock 107.
It can happen to any of us, and you kind of feel dumb for a minute, right? Good morning. I'm Rock 107's Prospector. I hurt my back simply by drying off getting out of the shower. I had the towel around my back, and I went to lift it up to bring it over my head. I was on the ground in a heap. What's the dumbest way you ever got injured? That's what I want to know this morning. Denise says, I threw my back out by reaching in a cupboard for a pan. Yeah, that's pretty bad. How about you on the rock lines? Dumbest way you ever got injured?
A friend of mine, he was standing at the urinal, sneezed, knocked himself off by hitting his head off the top of the urinal.
Are you sure it's really a friend of yours and you're sure it's not you?
I wish it was.
That's an awesome story. What's your name?
Pat.
Pat, do you want to drop your friend's name and embarrass him more?
No, I can't do that.
All right, that seems like a good move, Pat. TA says, I was headbanging to Battery by Metallica at a bar in Forest City, hit my head on the back of a bar stool, shiner over my right eye, and then I shattered the lens in my glasses as well. And Ralph, I jumped into bed. The front of my hips landed on one pillow, and the back of my shoulder landed on another. I twisted my back horribly. Checking in on the rock lines, dumbest way you ever got injured, Rock 107.
When I was a kid, I was like a janitor for a while.
Yeah.
I was mopping the floor, with the big mop with the tail with the wheels on it and everything, and the ringer for the mop.
Absolutely.
Well, one day I wasn't paying attention, and I let the ringer go. It came back and nailed me right in the and not only that, I felt like a yam bag. It was awful.
Of course you felt like a yam bag. Dan says, I'd say it was when I bit a glass to see how strong I was. I was only 5, but it was also 1 week after I jumped out of a tree and sprained both my ankles and wrists at the same time. My folks were asked to leave while the hospital staff tried to figure out if I was being abused at home. Stephanie's telling us, once I was standing on a folding chair to put the star on the Christmas tree in the chair. Well, it folded, and I ended up with a broken ankle. And Tracy pulled my back muscle, drying my hair. A side note, my hair is short. Rock lines were going to him. How'd you get injured? Dumbest way, Rock 107.
Yeah, I got 2. One of them was I rolled over to pet the dog while I was still in bed and threw out my back for 2 weeks.
Okay.
And the other one was stepping off a curb. I broke my ankle.
Just simply stepping off the curb.
Just simply stepping off a curb.
Lori says, yesterday this happened, adjusting the passenger seat of my car while I was sitting in the driver's seat. I felt a sharp pain in my right side. I don't know what it is, but now I'm really hurting. Hopefully it gets better quick for you, Lori.
Ladies and gentlemen, grab the kids, call your neighbors, and gather round the radio.
It's now time to announce the winner of Prospector's Jam Bag of the Day, as decided by you at rock107.com.
We uncover the most baffling, ridiculous, pathetic, cockeyed, laughable, preposterous blunders in the world of misdeeds.
Nominee number 1.
The next time you get annoyed at a store clerk for allowing someone to break the 10 items or less express lane rule, consider this. There's a chance they're being held at gunpoint. A man named Jesse Garrett was checking out at a Schnucks supermarket in Missouri last week when an employee confronted him. He was in express lane for people that had 10 items or fewer, and he had more than that in the cart. But rather than simply move, Jesse lifted his shirt and showed the employee a handgun in his waistband. The employee backed off and the store called 911. Cops tracked Jesse down. He was still inside, and he initially denied having a firearm, but the cops found a loaded gun stashed on a nearby store shelf behind some candy. Jesse admitted to brandishing the gun, but said he did it playfully. He also admitted to lying about having the gun, but said he had a good reason. He's a convicted felon, and he's not allowed to have a gun. Aha! Jesse's facing at least 2 charges, unlawfully possessing a firearm and unlawful use of a weapon. Both of those are felonies.
Nominee number 2.
This guy is 6'6", 250 pounds, and likes to go around wearing a kilt. Now we know why. Easy access. A 60-year-old man named Mitchell Vest is facing charges after he walked into 2 antique stores in the Houston area wearing a kilt, shoved items up his no-goal hole, then put them back on the shelf. He did it with a makeup brush and another item police described as a hardware piece. Then at a second store, he did it with an antique bottle opener and some sort of vintage tobacco can. All total, the 4 items were valued at just over $200 and all had to be thrown out. Employees also sanitized the other items in the stores just in case. Sounds like he was there with his wife. Workers said they'd seen them both before and described Mitchell as really nice. He's facing charges for criminal mischief, and it's going to be hard to deny he did it because there's security footage.
And the winner is
the kilt-wearing sicko who shoved antiques up his no-goal hole. Oh, you're the Yam Bag of the Day. And we'll move on to Friday's Yam Bag of the Week competition. Keep it here for all the nominees for Prospector's Yam Bag of the Day, weekday mornings on Rock 107. Thanks for listening to Prospector's Prime Cuts podcast. Be sure to catch us live weekdays from 5:30 to 10 a.m. on Rock 107 or online at rock107.com or the Rock 107 app, a free download for your Android or iPhone. Subscribe to the podcast on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher Radio, or wherever you get your podcasts so you never miss Prospector's Prime Cuts.